Hello everybody, this is Gabby's Games, and welcome back to Crossout with another How to Fix Crossout video. So today we're gonna cover my thoughts on the energy system as well as the epic movement parts, because they're kinda combined together. And of course these are all my own ideas on these stuff, so take all a little bit of grain of salt sometimes, but we're gonna go right into it. So something that really bothered me in a long time is the 5 energy, like this weapons, like energy balance. Because if you think about like the most efficient loadouts at most tiers are often include 12 energy weapons, not really more. Because if you go to modules, if let's say like top tier build, you need 60, you have a 60 energy at your service, 15, 16. You want to have an energy, most of the time you want to have an engine, so that's -1 energy. Then you probably want a cloak, so that's 2 energy. And if possible, radar attack, so this would be 3 energy. So you would be sitting at 13 energy with 16 and 12 energy left over with 15 energy. Taking that you're using Apollo and 11 to 12 energy again. So generally, you can only use like 3 weapons with 4 energy, or 2 weapons with 6 energy, or 4 weapons with 3. That's generally what people use. But there are also weapons like the Hammerfall that use 5 energy. So just sort of go over what weapons are 5 energy. So we got the Hammerfall, the Whirlwind, Cyclone. We got the Phoenix. We got the normal cannons. And I think that's it. Actually, no. Impulse, Cricket. Almost forgot about those two. But then that's it. Those are all the 5 energy weapons. So what does those 5 energy weapons make so hard to use? So let's say I'm just gonna set up a very small frame here. Gonna grab myself a very simple Quantum and Apollo platform to mount these guns. So let's say Whirlwinds. I'm just gonna grab normal Whirlwinds. At top tier, 2 of these guns are not gonna cut it. It's not gonna be enough firepower. They're epics, and 10 energy usage is basically not enough. But when you use 3, you do not have enough energy left over to add your radiators, coolers, and whatnot. And the same with shotguns. That's actually the main reason why shotguns, I would say, that other than the nerf, the main reason why Thunderbolts, Timberfalls, etc. I actually rarely see a top tier. Like, you see the occasional Goblin spam build, but nothing really else. So have cannons, you really only see Tsunami at higher tiers. Like a mid tier, you might occasionally see some Executioners or Judges, but you don't really see them that much. So what my thought on this system would be is, because it's just a large gap between 3, 4, and 5 energy and 6 energy. Like, there's such big gaps. How about we double, well actually quadruple every single energy related stat. So let's say a jockey will now create 40 energy points. A Apollo will now create 16 energy. Before you guys are going to shout at me, I'm meaning all energy relating. So a short would take 8 energy. Caucasus would take 16 energy. So in comparison, like, you can add a Apollo to add an extra Caucasus to your build if you do not have a generator before it. But if the new system, it will still be the same. What does it change? Well, we basically get, in comparison to now, we get 1, 1.25, 1.5, and 1.75 energy compared to the current system. So we can make some fine tuning of balance. So for example, the Spike and Phoenix, like, the biggest advantage I would say for the Spike versus the Phoenix is simply because the Spike is 1 energy less. And this means that with a lot of these 4 energy weapons, like the Spike, like the Helios, Nidhogg, weapons that do not require a lot of support modules to work, so like the machine guns do need quite a bit of support modules to work. These don't. These can easily be run as a 4-off, so like 4 spikes and a hot rat is still doable. I think like weapons like that should actually be like 4.25 energy, so like 17 energy with the new system, and to make sure that you cannot mount 4 of them. At the same time, 5 energy weapons should have a slight reduction, especially like Avengers. I think should go to like 17 energy. Judge goes to 18 or 19 maybe. Execution like put them under 20 because that's what I need. Tsunami is fine at like where it is at currently, in my opinion. Generator can go down a little bit in energy usage. Same with Cricket. Like Wasp should go up a quarter and Cricket should go down a quarter. Because if you compare it like over time, let's say we add let's say we make the Cricket and 15 energy. That means you will use 45 for 3 of them, and you would have here we would 48, so you would have 3 points left then, and now 16, so you would have 19 points of energy left, which is almost 4 energy total. In total, like you do save quite a bit of energy right there. I might actually like screw up a little bit math here, but it's actually they would be 19, wouldn't they? My bad. So then you would have 57 out of 48, 58, 64. I mean, you would have then 7 energy points left, and like, what use would that be compared to current systems? Well, the first thing I would change is the car jack. Change it to a quarter energy, so only 1 energy in the new system because it really doesn't need to cost that much energy. And same with scope and neutrino, they should go down as well to like a half energy. And I think the radars should go up to like 1 energy with the new system to symbolize that they like you do have to currently you can always throw on a radar if you have the power score, you know, but like make it a choice to make, like do I put on the radar or do I put on a scope, for example. Like make those like the choice between those two relevant. Right now it's not relevant because the neutrino and scope themselves cost an energy point, and that's energy point you just cannot spare. Cloak should probably cost a little bit more energy in comparison. Radiators and coolers less, because like an energy for one of these is quite a lot. And I would also say reduce the energy cost of the normal rare engines to like a half to what they are now, but give the 0 energy engines like 1 energy point, so that they're still like again not automatic includes, so that if you go for that, like if you would have gone for the quad spike, that you cannot throw in a free engine, because that would be like your mainstay. Like you would always throw in the engine, because why not? It costs our energy. You would only not do it if you had a better engine to put on. Like sometimes like giving more choice and challenge there is actually, I think it would be like more fun. Of course, my personal opinions here. And I think we could even allow people to then put in multiple engines, but only one of epic grade and then multiple of rares. Because sometimes people just want to have carry mass. Sometimes people want to make a giant Goliath behemoth and still make it mobile. You know, like a mobile piece of armor. And I think actually, like, of course, they still need to rework like the XP gain and mechanics, so they actually like have a reason to like take damage, because currently there's no real reason to take damage because it doesn't reward you in any way. It just only damage your build, so you really don't want to take damage. So generally people use more mobile builds because armor etc isn't really working right now. But if that would be reworked, you could also rework engines in such a way that you can carry more armor and get more power by adding multiple engines without like having multiple of the abilities. Although actually, like, to be honest, like if they do it right, give the engines enough energy cost and etc., I don't even think like it would be super bad to let the epic abilities just stack. Although it's like the Colossus, if it's like reload speed by 20%, it means that we'll have 120% reload speed instead of 80% reload time. Because if you, let's say you have a 5, where if you would say like minus 100% reload time, then you would have instant reload. That would be broken. But if you would do it the other way around, it says you have 200% reload time, then you would have like reload speed, then you would have the reload time with 5 the engines, and that would make like more sense actually, like how that works, and also with like all the other systems really. But then we go on to movement parts. Because I think, with the exception of the armor track, hardened track, and small track, with the new system, we should assign all epic movement parts 1 energy point. So quarter energy to what now? But in return, do buff these parts. So like they are strong, they are really good, but you cannot spam them too easily, and they would still force them to make a little bit of choice. I mean, like, the Bigfoot is pretty much a full upgrade compared to the large wheel. And there's no, at some point there's no reason to run these rare wheels, and there's so many different wheels here. They're kind of going to waste because of the epic Bigfoots and all the other epic parts. I mean, meat grinders are currently kind of slow in acceleration, but I think actually like it's fine that they're slow, but I think like the auger stuff should do more damage if you would actually implement energy system, because of course the energy is a big downside, because like, okay, 4 meat grinders is probably around average with 4 meat grinder build, maybe 6. So then you would use 1 to 1.5 energy in your current system to mount your movement parts. 6 max legs, again at 1.5 energy. You probably run around with the like, I would actually put the hovers similar to how they were at the beginning in terms of like, if for comparison, but like then if you would take 8 of those hovers, you would actually like limit your energy by 2. So like you can go take more hovers and stuff like that. The penalty for actually taking more is not that you become slower or whatever. It is that you won't be able to carry more weapons, because like you have to balance the power output by your movement system and your power output by your weapon system, because both are seemingly powered by some kind of engine inside the cabin. You know, like the tracks here, those are already pretty bad as is, so I don't think they don't need the energy. But they could actually use a rework. Actually, they have outer connection points like the Goliath has, and overall make them more mobile. Actually, that's like the health of these things are fine, but like they do not really cover too much compared to the Goliath. So I do really think they should just like make them slightly more mobile in that regard. Legs, change the perk of the Stepper Spider and give them the raw speed of the Stepper Spider, like combined with the legs. Make it not like absolutely necessary to have that cabin for the spiders. Stuff like that. And with that, you can also like fine tune some weapons, like Rapier. You don't really can't worry about having 4 of those. You can actually slightly reduce your Rapier's energy, junk bow energy potentially, although they are really powerful, so you don't want to overdo it. And like Defender is actually fine like this, but I think like the turret SMGs should perhaps cost a little bit less energy. Also, Aspect Spectre being both the same energy, that should be different. Helios definitely shouldn't be 4 energy, like stuff like that. I'm just sipping through here, and like what I just want to see is like more incentive to like balance your systems out. So like really think about what are you gonna add, not just like, okay, this is a proven concept basically. Like, okay, of course, like at some point there is a proven concept, but that will take a while, new meta, whatever. But radical changes to this game might actually do it good, because currently there's not really a growth in the player base anymore, it feels like. Like you start seeing some like players multiple times at different occasions, like too often a little bit. And I don't want to see this game like go downhill or whatever. I just want it to grow further, and because I really enjoy this game. And again, what I covered earlier with back prices and whatever. Those are like big changes, and again, this is actually really radical change because you're really changing the entire system, how energy um, lenses and spears are gonna be in a really odd spot because like, do we give them more energy, less energy? That's gonna be actually a really interesting one to see balance in that new system. Of course, new system. I'm saying like if it ever were to be implemented. I'm not saying this is just my ideas on what could be changed and how I would change it. I mean, I wouldn't nerf the or our rework really of the Icarus, how that goes. I don't really see the point in that rework. It doesn't really feel like it's going to do anything. It's gonna need some. It's gonna need some different, like the mobility of it. It's perfectly fine, but you are combining that mobility with the same amount of firepower as an actual tank, and because of armor being kind of obsolete in this game, people are always going to look for the quickest platform to move around with because it doesn't matter because nothing here costs energy. If you have to mount 6 Icarus 7s to really be fast, or like 8 of them, you're gonna sacrifice some speed, like some firepower to achieve that speed, and I think that is actually okay. But then like we're talking like when they first were implemented, where like you would see 16 of those Icarus 7 hovers just be spammed all over the place, and just be like a hoverboat. It's actually what it was called then. I don't actually mind seeing those return if, again, like if it costs a quarter energy of the current system per hover. I mean, sure, go add 16 hovers to your build. That means you have half the energy to work with that someone has if they only go for rare wheels. Again, like Bigfoot, they to 5% of the share of Bigfoot's among for birds. Like I actually like if you really want to have a travel counter, although I think they actually would have to rework that, but that one a little bit. It's the travel counter. If like not a lot of people will use Bigfoots then because people will move back to the large wheels. So I think I do have to be rework a little bit, maybe even just like reload bonus on there or whatever by just driving around. So like people want to have a little bit of a buff, so you are adding a few energy points into the wheels, soaking up a little bit. Of course, it would be the biggest downside for the for the new system would be on the hovers, would be on the legs and meat grinders, because those three are not compatible with wheels. Well, not really, at least. But again, like that's why this legs will need a buff and the hovers will need a buff in return. Meat grinders too. Goliath, they can just add that energy point on there, and for real, they really have to add that energy point, and that thing, those things are kind of ridiculous sometimes. So yeah. Also, it reflects like the power usage of these bigger parts. I mean, if you have like let's say you have an electromotor driving every wheel, and that's why you achieve like the 20 wheel drive or whatever. How much energy would this little studded wheel use compared to a freaking jet engine? The jet engine uses way more power. Giant spider legs, World War II based tracks, like the weight on those things propel themselves, let alone propel 4.5 tons of extra weight. There's actually also one thing, masses of vehicles. I kind of created a mouse here, for example. We're talking 14 and a half, actually, sorry, 11.5 tons on a vehicle that is supposedly 188 tons. So like the weight classes or these things are kind of skewed. I mean, this is easily a 20-30 ton truck. They could easily, like, to be honest, they could easily double up on most of these mass things. and like that would be fun. Because of mass numbers, like doubling up every mass item, so like doubling the tonnage of everything, doubling the mass of everything, doubling the tonnage and mass limit on all the grab-ins will probably make a game a little bit more realistic and make heavier vehicles actually feel heavier as well. Like, there's also a bit of immersion here, like make parts that should cost energy, rework the balance in the meanwhile with it, and that would actually do well. And like that could also make some fighter balances between movement parts. I mean, let's just count the amount of 10 energy rare cabins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 different energy cabins. 9 different 10 energy cabins on rare. If the like one of them had +1 point of energy, a quarter point of energy, and one has minus a quarter, because the minus that would actually like make again packing a right cabin more interesting. Because right now everybody just picks a growl, done. Really, like there's no, or jawbreaker. There's no real reason to pick anything in between. Car base gonna be too slow. Truckers trash. Duckers. Those really need to be changed as well. Docker and Trucker are currently just not usable. And it also could work together with like things like the werewolf, because they refuse to give us that extra 13th point of energy, even though they add light cabins. They could like give it slightly more energy to work with. Well, it's not entirely 17, so like 12 and a quarter, 12 and a half. And at the same time, I do actually think that heavier cabins should have, like, I think they should actually just give all the cabins 12 energy, 10 energy, and 8 energy based on their rarity. Because like heavy cabins, they will be heavier in terms of wheels will be heavier, so generally you're carrying more wheels. So they are gonna put a bit more energy into like getting your movement parts up to the health standard of the other heavier parts that you're using. So you're gonna need more energy there, and that will balance out like the increase of energy on those cabins. And that will also like, and that in turn will again nerf the growl, because the growl will be, it's kind of overpowered. I mean, you can still give variations in between, give the growl like a little bit more energy, but currently it's just really too strong, and especially the duster just needs a nerf. Actually, like you will not really often hear me to say that a common needs a nerf, but the duster really needs a nerf. Because the duster, if you guys haven't forgotten, a duster, if you actually actually I need to use these. Grab a duster, grab 2 frames, grab 4 steering wheels, and grab a gas generator. Now you have a 12 energy platform. I mean, even if you rework it slightly, and let's say lightweight frame, I need this to lose a little bit of weight. Guys, we're doing a let's build in this video as well, guys. And 2 bigwood steerings, and a good mount steering in front. Because what can we put on here? A pair of tsunamis. This one is actually slightly overmassed because I forgot to add the 0 energy engine. It costs me nothing to add, and it gives you 1,000 kilograms extra to work with. It flips over kinda, but who cares? You're taking 2 tsunamis and 4,500 power score. I mean, you could also put a coupler in the back and just like have people carry it around. There's like, again, reworking the energy system, making it more fine-tuned, because right now adding or removing an energy point to any item is a huge change. Like, let's say they suddenly gave the gas generator one extra energy point or one less energy point, everybody will freak out because everything changes then. Like if it's 4 energy, people stop using the Apollo pretty much forever because this thing is so much lighter, even though it's much more volatile. Like, who will care about the Apollo then? Or like if they gave the light generator also 2 energy, then it will be way better than the hazardous and or the heavy generator because it has the health of the heavy. Basically, it has the lightweightness of like more lightweight than the has, and is not volatile, and like it would screw up a lot of balance items. Or even if they decided to add one extra energy point to, let's say the Mammoth, they add an energy point to it. Well, goodbye Mammoth, you will never be seen again. Nobody will use the 7 energy weapon like that. I mean, occasionally you see a Mandrake user. Not really often. Mostly they use one of them. Like Mandrake is another weapon. Like if you have the 16 energy, you can carry nothing else. Give it like 7.5 energy, and they will actually, if you mount 2, you will still have 1 energy point left for an engine to have a little bit extra carry mass, because like you cannot any longer carry them on an icebox or a humpback because those only go up to 15 energy. Anyway, I think I'm gonna keep it at that here. It's gonna love to hear your guys' thoughts on these proposed changes, and yeah, of course, comment down in this, below. Let me hear guys what you guys think, and also join the Discord that you can see down in the description, and you can discuss with me about future topics for the series, and of course always just you can chat with me. That's gonna be fun, right? So you gotta also start if you join the Discord. That's that. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys all later. Bye guys.